Welcome. This is the Scituate Town Update. It is the 6th. I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. And just a few updates for what's happening this week, and then I'm going to actually throw it over to our town administrator. So just so folks know, tonight, Tuesday, 6:30, there's a select board meeting right here in Town Hall. Tomorrow, Wednesday, there'll be a Waterways Commission meeting at 7 o'clock, and that's over at the Maritime Center. And on the 8th, on Thursday, 6:30, there's a planning board meeting right here in Town Hall. I also want to mention also on the 8th, on Thursday at 6 o'clock at the library, very exciting. There's going to be a poetry reading of Cape Verdean, a celebration of Cape Verdean poetry. So check that out. Starts at 6 o'clock right at the library. And with that, I will kick it over to you, Jim.
Morning, thank you. Bunch of things to update people on. It's been 2 weeks, so we'll start with our water. Water main construction is continuing on Utility Road this week. We are expecting the contractor to begin work on Old Oak and Bucket, if not later this week, beginning of next week. That'll be the next main phase of the water construction projects. Once utility is done, we should see the pipe settle for a little bit. Then later on this year, we'll get in there. We'll pave a lot of those neighborhoods as the construction work has done a number on those roads. Total demand for the past week was 1.489 million gallons per day. That's slightly lower than the previous week and also down from the same period last year. Normally on the 4th of July, we'll see demand up around the 2.6, 2.7 million gallons per day. Obviously, the weather was very helpful in keeping demand down. Wasn't great for the holiday, but it was good for keeping water demand down. We talked about as the weather gets hot and the reservoir warms, manganese levels in that water starts to go up. When we have very high demand, the water treatment plant can't keep up and treat for that manganese. The good news is that the rain over the past week has lowered the manganese levels in the reservoir. So hopefully we'll see some of that discolored water start to abate over the next week. We have 8.25 plus inches at the reservoir this week, which is unheard of for this time of year. However, we still need people to conserve water. It is not just a supply issue, but as most people know, our water treatment plant is not in the best of shape. We're making plans to replace that, and it cannot operate at the high demands on a consistent basis that sometimes we see. So we want people to continue to monitor their water usage, continue to save water. We will continue to do that. And if we see issues coming up, we will go to the next phase of the water ban. Right now, we are in phase 1, and those details are available on the town website under the water department. The COVID restrictions, most people wear, those have been lifted. You still need to wear a mask on public transportation, Uber, Lyft, airports, things like that. But for the most part, all the regulations and restrictions have been lifted. The state of emergency is over. The governor has signed legislation that allows us to continue to do remote meetings. The Board of Selectmen will be meeting in person. That meeting will be available on cable, and we stream it on Facebook Live. We are working on making it available so that people can Zoom in and participate while the board meets in person. But again, as we've talked about in the past, we had an original August 1st deadline to have that ready, and the governor changed it to May, so we're kind of scrambling. But we will put that in place, but the meetings will be in person tonight, and it will be available on cable and Facebook Live. If you're over 12, you're eligible for a vaccine. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts is doing very well in getting people vaccinated. But if you have not gotten vaccinated, we urge you to please do so. The Delta variant is present in Massachusetts. It is much more contagious than previous variants, and it seems to be in younger people. That could be a factor that they're not vaccinated, but we do urge people to get vaccinated at the risk of causing myself the chance of winning the lottery. If you are vaccinated, you can go to Vax-A-Millions and sign up for the lottery, and there are 5 chances to win $1 million if you're over 18. If you're between 12 and 18, there are 5 chances to win $300,000 scholarships towards school. So if you haven't gotten vaccinated, it's a good reason to do so. If you have, don't sign up, so the chances of me are better to win. The fewer people that sign up, the better chance I have. But you can go to Vax-A-Millions and sign up for that. And take your chances. It is better odds than the lottery. So if you play the lottery, you might as well play Vax-A-Millions if you're vaccinated. For COVID, we've had 2 cases in the past 2 weeks, none last week to the previous week. We remain in the gray. Our numbers are still very good. We're at 0.33, which is up from 0.11 the previous 2 weeks. So we're still in the very low range. The state is at 0.38, which is almost identical to what it was 2 weeks ago. So again, those numbers are kind of staying in the very low range. Just keep being vigilant, do the right things. If you're feeling sick and you haven't been vaccinated, stay home. Don't go out, don't risk other people, but the numbers look good and we will continue to monitor that. Peggy Beach parking lot, we are still working on that. The base coat is down. Temporary striping is in the parking lot. We're going to be doing some drainage work down there in the course of doing the paving. We've uncovered some drainage problems, so we'll be addressing those before we do the final paving. We have relocated the handicap spots to the other side of the entryway where the new pavement is. And those will get striped also. We'll do some temporary striping down there. But that's going to be an ongoing project, and the final paving will be dependent now upon the installation of the drainage and the weather and the contractor. If we don't get it done, then we'll finish it in the fall. But our goal is to keep the parking lot open as much as possible during the summer and not have to close on a very hot day to get paving done. If you drive down Countryway, you'll see the sidewalk work is progressing. The contractor is putting in the granite curbing. It's looking pretty good. You may see some poles and things that you think are in the way. Those will be moved before the final sidewalk is put in. We'll do some base coat and then move those, but for the most part, those will be moved or removed. But that sidewalk will be the final phase of the Countryway sidewalk. It'll connect all the way down to the Greenbush line. And then at that point, we'll start working on the next phase, which is a sidewalk from Greenbush heading up Stockbridge Road. We have preliminary designs on that. We'll finish that design and then go on and seek funding to finish that construction of that project. The renovations on the Steedman rink at Scituate High School will commence in 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks, there are recreation programs there. After that, starting on about 7:15, we'll be mobilizing for the construction and starting shortly thereafter. Completion is scheduled for early September. It should not interfere with school at all. By the time we get to that, the work will be mostly finishing up work. But that is being funded through the Community Preservation Act, and that'll be a nice addition to get that fixed up to go with our new athletic fields. 2 more water updates very quickly. Well 17A, the green sand filter off Tack Factory Pond Road, is progressing. The building is up. A lot of the mechanicals are in at this point and moving along for the installation of that green sand filter. For those of you who don't remember, green sand filters are technology that are used to remove iron and manganese from the well water before it goes into the system. Iron and manganese are 2 of the leading causes of discolored and brown water in Scituate. So to remove that from the source is a very, very good thing for us and an important milestone. There's two issues with cleaning up the water. The first one is to remove the existing sediment in the pipe that's been settled there over years. That's the gunk and the brown stuff. We've been doing that through flushing and ice pigging. The second is to remove the iron and manganese from the source and prevent it from going into the system. And that is the reason for the green sand filter on well 17A and a green sand filter on well 18B. 17A is scheduled to be finished later in the fall. Today or tomorrow, the electric company will be coming in and installing some new permanent power. We are hoping to get that back online later this summer. But again, completion is scheduled for the fall, and that will return about 250,000 gallons per day directly into the system with no iron and no manganese in it, which is a great thing. At the same time, we're working on the renovations of the expansion to the Widows Walk Clubhouse. The project will expand the seating in the clubhouse, completely renovate the kitchen, increase the size of the pro shop, and pave the parking lot. This is about a $2.5 million project, which has been funded at town meeting. It will be completed this fall. At the same time that we're doing the Widows Walk Clubhouse project, we are finishing up the well 18B green sand filter project that is located on the other side of the landfill. What we're doing there is every time we use those filters, they have to be cleaned and backwashed. That backwash water that cleans the filters, we are actually going to pipe over to the club and put into the reservoir. So we can be putting 10,000 or more gallons a day into the golf course supply to water the golf course. That is water we wouldn't put into the system because it's water that we use to clean the system. clean the filters, but it is perfectly good water for us to be putting on the golf course. So it's kind of a win-win that we can use that well water. Well 18B will be able to go back online when we need it in emergencies, and at the same time provide some needed water for the golf course to do irrigation and watering of the course. Finally, I met with Chief Thompson this morning. We want to thank and congratulate the residents of Scituate for a very safe and happy 4th of July. I know the weather didn't cooperate, but we had no major incidents over the weekend, very little in the need for law enforcement. So I want to thank everybody for having a safe and healthy 4th of July and for not putting a stress on our public safety personnel. And that's what I have for today.
That's great. Thank you. Just one other thing, just to mention, I've received a lot of emails and calls about this, but it's true. Lots of our local businesses are hiring, especially seasonal hires. So something that could really help here in Scituate, if you know anyone that's looking for some seasonal work, whether it's scooping ice cream or retail work or landscaping, you've got, if you know someone, take a look around, but a lot of our businesses are really looking for folks to help out. So take a look around town, and maybe might be able to help fill some of those open spots. So with that, everyone has a great week.